Hi, my name is Marie, and I like to make things, and I like to turn around and show you how I made those things. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, be sure to like the video. I hate telling people to like the video before they even watched it. Why would I do that? People do that all the time, but I'm not going to do that. If you're new here and you like to see somebody try to work out what they need to do in their videos and try to create something that they never created before, that's what this channel is about for the most part. Sometimes I do it ahead of time, sometimes I don't. This time I did not do it ahead of time. So today what I wanted to do is I wanted to work with some clay. Okay, so if you've been following me on my Instagram, you will know that about a couple months ago, yes, a couple months ago, I bought a good like $300 worth of clay stuff. So I have a bunch of clay stuff that I bought for some pennies. So yeah, so I am going to dig in there and try to do some clay stuff. Do I know what I'm doing? No, that's why you subscribe to this channel. Yeah. So I'm going to show you what I have. This stuff that I'm showing you today did not cost me the $300 that I said I spent. No, I have a ton of stuff and I'm only using a quarter of the stuff. So I'm going to show you the stuff that I want to work with today. Wait, hold on. Forgot to mention, this video is sponsored by 𝐸ative_FABRICA. Do you see these earrings in my ears here? Well, I do have a video on this. You can search all you want in my YouTube playlist, but you're not going to find it. Sorry. But it is available on 𝐸ative_FABRICA. What is 𝐸ative_FABRICA? Well, let me tell you. Have you ever started a project? You're like, I'm going to do something. I'm going to do this really cool project. And you looked all over for the perfect font, the perfect PNG, the perfect digital asset to use, and you can't find it, or it's an arm and a leg. Well, that's where 𝐸ative_FABRICA comes in. They have a database of fonts, digital assets, PNGs, JPEGs, and me. Yes, me. They have content creators like myself giving exclusive tutorial classes you will find nowhere else. Through the link in my pinned comment or in the description box below, you will receive your first month access for just $1. And then the months after, it'll be a discounted $19. That is a 35% discount compared to the regular price of $29. I mean, really? How better can it get? Oh, it gets better. That membership gives you access to 3 million plus high quality classes, fonts, graphics, JPEGs, any other creative resources you might need. You can cancel at any time, no obligation, and best of all, you get more of me. Yay! Again, click the link in my pinned comment and in the description box below to receive your first month of all access subscription for just $1 at 𝐸ative_FABRICA. Again, thank you 𝐸ative_FABRICA for having me on board and for sponsoring this video. Yay! So this is what I have on my workbench for right now. Basically, this is the clay. I have some clay that I'm just going to play around with. I don't know if it's good clay or not. I can't even remember what this is. So this is 𝕊𝕤 clay. So I got 𝕊𝕤 in like 3 colors here. Then I have a block. I'm just going to cut off a little piece of transparent. So the translucent one, oh man, everybody uses this translucent. So I was like, yeah. So I'm not telling you how many I bought. You might have seen it if you follow me on my Instagram. Go have a look to see all the stuff that I bought. Of course, I have the staples of what you would need if you want to work with the clay. So I got my little roller. Then I have some tissue cutters, and then I have some other cutters. And then I found these things which would be very useful if you're trying to make sure everything is flat on all sides evenly. Believe it or not, I think they were like coasters or something. So I found these little acrylic coasters. They come like 12, I believe, in a pack. They're very cheap. It's not glass, it's just acrylic. So I'm going to be using those, okay? Then I have my basic paint. You don't really have to, you're probably thinking, why are you using paint? I got you. I got you. You'll understand soon enough. I have a bunch of this gold foil, so I have some of it on hand here. Yeah, you know how I feel about. I hope I don't have a freak out moment because it's kind of like glitter to me and it might get in my eyes and I might die. So you might see me die on camera. I don't know. Hopefully you'll send help. Then I have also this liquid Sculpey. The Sculpey actually sticks it and makes sure that the clay pieces all stick together once I start separating these out, okay? So I have that. Then any other supplies that I'm going to need, I'm just going to grab it and tell you what it is. I usually go and say, oh, this is all of the supplies you'll need, but I don't know what I would need. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what I'm doing. That's the beauty of this channel. I don't know what I'm doing. So what I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to clean up my space, make myself a nice little area. I'm going to be working on this piece of tile. And so I'm going to clean it up and make myself a nice little workspace. I'll be right back. So what I'm doing now is I've opened up all my clay, because that's the part that takes the most time, is opening up your clay and conditioning it, and then you got to roll it out. I use the pasta machine a little bit, but not a lot. So I've been like just rolling it out, just, you know, touching it and making sure it's warm enough to be working with. And so then once I did that, I just roll it out into these little tubies. So I got my transparent done, I have green, and I have a teal, and now I have like a little sky blue that I'm going to use. Not putting too much pressure on it helps it to tube up, if that's a word. Tube it up. I don't know. So I am making these little tubes. Now, these little cutters right here, this little cutter is no joke. So I try not to touch the blade part because it's very, 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 very sharp. And I've been known to cut myself pretty badly in my life. So now I have all my little tubies, okay? So next what I want to do is I'm just separating them out so that we don't have too many pieces touching each other. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take them and cut them all up. I'm just making these little shards of clay, something like that. Okay, so I'm just going to cut them all up. It's so hard to do the first cut. I'm like, I worked so hard on these tubes, now I'm going to cut it. Oh my God. Okay, I'm okay. Okay, so now I have them all cut up, and now I'm just going to separate the pieces out. Now I am basing this all off of some YouTube videos, some Instagram reels that I've seen. They make it so easy, and I'm going to see just how easy it actually is. So the one thing that I will say, that if I'm ever going to do this again, I'm going to make sure I have a window open, because it seems that they're all warm underneath my recording lights, and that they kind of like melt again. And so after separating all these pieces out, I'm going to go and try to mix them all together with the transparent, all the colors together. Okay, a lot of the pieces want to stick together. So then I think this is where the paint comes into play, okay? what I want to do is I want to take these, instead of just dealing with paint on my bare hands, I'm going to take a little Ziploc bag and I'm going to put all these pieces in there. Oops. Okay. Ooh, that seems to help. Separating the pieces out. Okay. I'm going to take my paint and I'm going to shake it up. Okay. And then I'm going to pour it in that bag. I don't know how much paint I need, but I'm just going to do a little bit. I'm going to close the bag because it just makes it easier. And I'm going to just work this paint and try to get this paint in between all these pieces so that they're not all smushed together. Just separating these pieces using the paint to separate it. A bit more. Close my bag. There we go, much better. There we go. Can't see what I'm doing, but I'm like, I can feel what I'm doing. I'm separating all these pieces. And I think a lot of the fact that this paint is, there's a break in my bag. Delightful. I might grab another one. You think you slick, paint? You think you can get on me? And I'm separating all these pieces. I can feel them separating, so that helps a lot. While it's in this bag, I'm just squishing it all together. Just using the bag to get it all together. And I'm creating a little log with it. Make sure I have all the pieces. Yep, they're all together. Either going to use my acrylic pieces just to log it out, because that's a new word that I made up on the fly just now. So I'm flattening all sides to make like a little tube, a square tube. So I'm going to need to get this out of these baggies. I'm just going to put on a pair of gloves real quick. Now I'm going to take a separate piece of tile that I have. I just got these special from the Home Depot. My husband, I had him pick me up some tile, and I don't know why he got me this. I did say square, but we work with what we have. So I'm going to take that because this is what I'm going to bake it on. I got a nice little log. So I'm going to sit that out here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to let that sit for a little bit, and I'm going to let it dry. So I let it sit overnight, and I moved it around as I did, and for the most part the outside of these are dry. So let's have a look. So looks like a simple log just covered with some paint. Basically what it looks like. So I'm going to take them off of these guys. I'm going to set these guys aside for right now. All right, so I ended up making 3 different kinds, and for the most part they're all dry. So I'm going to take the stiffer one out of all those. I'm going to go and cut these really quick, and I don't know what I'm doing, but let's just cut them. For one, what I notice is that I need to have these logs to be a little bit bigger. But it's basically, this is the one I'm sure that doesn't have any of the foil in it at all. So I'm going to cut these, and I'm going to lay them all out right here, and then I'm going to cut the next one. All right, so let's do our second slab. What I will say about these, if I'm going to do it again, what am I, if I ever, I'm going to do this again. When I do it again, I'm going to make sure there's a big amount so that this little square could be a little bit bigger. So that's one complaint that I have about how I did it. But let's cut this guy. So there's that. It'll look like a lot of gold in there, but it's okay. Got a lot of the blue in there. I do notice that. So let me cut this up, and then I'm going to spread them all out too. All right, so this is the second slab right here. It's got a little bit of gold flecks in it, but you can't really tell. I don't know if it has anything to do with the gold flecks itself, but I will put more on it later on because I have plenty left over. And so this is another one that I was trying to mix up some clay colors, and I said, oh, let me try this black and translucent. And I put a little bit of gold flecks in it, but not a lot. So turned out to be very ugly cow color, and it's okay. I'm not saying cows are ugly. I mean, this log is a little bit bigger square wise, and I kind of like that. All right, so I scaled them so that there wouldn't be any spaces in between each one of these little squares. So I scaled them and overlapped them as much as I can, and then I'm going to flatten this out. Now, what I did know about flattening them, I want them to be about this thick. So I'm going to put these up against the side of them. I'm going to fit them up like so, so that it will be, when I'm rolling them, then I'll be able to get them the right size. I'm gonna try to put a little bit of gold foil on here. Not a good fit for my roller, that's for sure. As far as clay cutters are concerned, what I got is I ended up going to Cutterly Designs, and I got a couple little cutters there. So let me just show you. So I got this one, which is like a 3-piece earring. So I got that one, so all the pieces will connect some sort of way. Then I got another set. You know, again, 3 pieces, little cutters. And then I ended up getting this guy, which I think I might use this. Actually, I kind of like this one. It's very simple. Then later on, I wouldn't have to go, after I bake it, go and be like, oh, I'm going to poke holes, a whole bunch of holes in it, and then I don't feel like doing that. So I want to just do one little cut, and I like to get it in the middle because I know that in the middle is the right amount of thickness. So I'm going to go right in the middle. So you're going to want to evenly press this, and I'm going to use my little coaster, and I'm just going to evenly press on that, and you can feel it going through. There you go. Okay. I found this little cutter. This was just a regular cutter that came in a set. I'm going to put that in the supplies. I'm just going to press out 2 of those. 1 and 2. Okay. Let's see how this turned out. Pretty. There they are. All right, let me look at this. All right, let's pick it up. It looks a mess, but not bad for my first pair of earrings. That's the little divot. So I have my tile all cleaned off. So I'm going to sit these little guys on my tile so that I'm going to put those in the oven. So I have them on my piece of tile and I'm going to put this in the oven. Again, I am going to take my acrylic coasters. So I just gave myself a little guard right here so that I know that I'm not going to go any thinner than these coasters, okay? And what I like about what I did with the other one is that some of the foil got on my roller, and that's okay because I was going to put some foil on this. Maybe grab some bigger pieces and put those in there. So what I'm starting to feel right now is these ends of my roller is just rolling on top of these things, and I can feel it that I'm not really squishing anything else, so I can stop. I got these other cutters from Sea Salt Company. So I got this set right here. I like those. This is the top part and this is the bottom. Then I got this 3-part one. So it's like that. Like these will be connected. And then this will be connected at the top where you put your post at. So making a decision, let me see. Because I don't think I have enough to use both of them. But let me try the one that I really, really want, which is this guy. So if you look at it, like you can always tell with the depth of these that this is just going to create lines on it. And then this part on the outside is going to cut it out. Okay. Cut it out. Okay. Now I'm going to use my little acrylic piece to press it evenly. Okay. Yeah, I didn't press it evenly. So there you go. So I got that. Now let's get this piece. Press that in evenly. Boop, I can feel it. Ooh, press it a little too much. Uh-oh. All right. That didn't go very well. But that's okay. I don't know. I don't think I like that one too much. So I've heard, and I think I might do that really quick, that if you feel that it's sticking to your cutters, just go and dip it in some water. So hold on a second. All right, they say dip it in water. Got it a little bit wet, and then I'm going to press it now. Ooh. Yes, beauteous. Now I need to do 2. Press that. Nice, so I got 2 of those. So I got 1 of those. Nice. Alrighty. People always say this is the satisfying part, but this really isn't very satisfying to me. When you pull it away and then, you know, all the ones you pressed out stay there, but this isn't very fun for me. Because I am on high anxiety thinking that these are just going to mess up, which of course they are. Because I am inexperienced. People will say, just don't be scared, just pull it. It's easy for you to say. You know what you're doing. Okay. I don't know, to me they seem very thin. So maybe they're way too thin. Okay. These may be the ugliest earrings I've ever created. I'm quite sure that they are. These earrings, just being honest with myself and everyone who is involved with this, these are going to be some ugly earrings. So I'm going to put these ugly earrings into the oven. And I know that you always have to make sure that you have an oven thermometer, just to make sure that your oven really is the temperature that it's saying it is. And then I'm going to pop those in the oven real quick, and then I'm going to show you the result of the ugliest earrings I've ever made. Yay. So I am back with a new do, new face, new outlook. It was so much of a failure. They looked so bad, so ugly, that I immediately, the garbage can was just right there. So I just threw it in the trash. But what I did learn from the situation is we all fail. Failure is okay. Now, what is not okay with failure is if you fail and then you say, I'm never going to do this again. This is complete trash, and I'm throwing it in the trash, and I'm done with it, and I'm taking all the supplies and I'm throwing that in the trash. That's wrong. We don't want to do that. We should always take a failure and try to learn from it. This is what I learned from my failure. Number one, when I was cutting these logs, you would notice that some of them had like little pieces not connected to it. I didn't put enough of the liquid Sculpey in it to connect all those pieces together. So that's number one. Number two, when I was taking all these pieces and I was cutting them from the log, I should have been putting them on top of another layer of clay, which would probably make it so that I wouldn't have to use a lot of this. But then you have another layer of clay that is going to keep everything together. So that's number two. Number three is the inconsistency of the heat of my regular traditional oven. Even though I had the thermometer, I was trying to turn the dials to keep the temperature consistent, but that's just not going to work. It's just not going to work. You really need to not have an inconsistent heating situation. So I went out and I got myself a cute little toaster oven over here. Yeah, and I could keep it in my studio. So that's nice. And I put my thermometer in it and it keeps consistent temperature. When I put it on 275, it stays on 275. Yay. Number four. Yes, number four. 4 mistakes that I made. The fourth mistake was the clay that I was using. So I believe I was using Sculpey. One color was Sculpey, another color was Fimo, and I was mixing all those clays together. Yeah, I'm gonna try not to do that anymore. What I am gonna stick with is using Sculpey 3. So the reason why I want to use Sculpey 3 is because this right here, this particular one that I have, this one is translucent. So what you could do with translucent is this. With translucent, you can use mica powder to color it because it's only one color. And then you can use mica powder to color it or alcohol inks to color the Sculpey clay. So I just bought a bunch of translucent Sculpey 3 clay, and I am going to be using that from now on and just coloring it with whatever color I like. So all that other clay that I got, that's all these different colors, I'm just going to play around with them. I'm not trying to make a traditional earring with them and, hope for the best. We're not doing that anymore. No sorry, Bob. So like I said, learning from your failures, that is the key to keeping up with something you may be interested in. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I have a log on my, I don't know why we call it a log. We could call it a log, a brick, or a tubey. I don't know. I have a thing. I have a elongated thing of clay on my table right now. Okay, and we're gonna cut that, and I'm going to fix all those mistakes that I did earlier in the video, and I am going to make a whole nother pair of earrings. I'm not gonna go too crazy with it. I'm not trying to be all fancy for this video. I'm just trying to get this out so that you guys can see how I fixed my mistakes. Okay, so let me show you what's on my table. Okay, so what I have here is a log that I made from using just my Sculpey 3 clay. Okay, so I took the log, and this looks a little different than the other one. I cut it up. I did the same exact thing, cut it up, but I just used Sculpey 3 clay. And then after I cut it up, then I rolled it in foil. So gold foil. That's all I did. I just was doing something fancy just to make something not so fancy. Whatever. I actually put it on my Instagram so that you could see how I actually made this particular log. So check that out. It's in my reels. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do right here is I'm going to take this log really quick, and I am going to cut it and start putting these pieces on my flat surface. I have one little thin layer. It's not very thick, very thin layer of Sculpey 3 translucent clay, so as its own little layer here, and then I'm going to cut these up. So I'm going to try to cut these as thin as possible. Okay, nice. Okay, look at that, nice little marbling effect. And I'm just going to start dropping them. All right, so the next thing that I'm going to do, I'm going to take some leftover foil that I have just lying around. So I'm going to start putting a little bit all over it, not being too choosy as to where I'm putting it, just placing it down, just adding a little bit of spice to it. That's another thing that I wish I did. More spice, okay? Clay needs spice. It looks good now, but it'll look way different once I start flattening this out. So, well, this is pretty. This is really pretty. I really like this. I'm very impressed with this. Okay. Being very liberal with it too, because this foil starts to break down as you start squishing it into the clay. It starts to break down a little bit and not be as sparkly. So it may seem, whoa, ma'am, you need to calm down on foil, but later on you'll see why. The one thing I do not like is that when you start rolling with this acrylic little roller, sometimes when you roll, you get a bunch of like the foil comes off of the clay and starts getting onto the roller. So that's a little annoying to me. So what I'm going to do is, for the first couple of rolls, I'm just going to use this little bit of tissue paper and start rolling this out. So I'm also paying attention also to the thickness of it. I could put my guides down, but I can see from how high the paper is off the surface that I have here, and I'm just looking and watching that. Let me get it up close to you. I love that sparkle when I go from side to side. That's nice. Another thing that I've learned when I'm trying to cut these out and getting my little cutters and all that good jazz and your little shapes and ooh, that's nice. But what I've learned is I need to use something on the surface of this to cut it out because I want it to look a certain way when I cut it out. Hold on a second. Okay, so I got these cutters from the sea salt company, and these pink ones I got these from the sea salt company, and I'll put them in the description box below, a link to them. But what I noticed is that, do you notice there's these little circles here? Well, not only do you have the cutter, but you actually, I believe these are like little guides for you to poke the holes in it. I'm assuming, I'm new at this, you let me know. I kind of feel like there's different choices as to where you can poke holes, and you could do it before you bake it. But I'm gonna poke the holes after I bake it. I'm just gonna drill the holes in there, whatever. This is the shape that I'm going to cut out, and then I have a simple little oval one. I can't find my circle one, but there's my little oval one that I'm gonna cut out. So I am going to take a little piece of plastic saran wrap and I'm going to cut through there. I've seen people do it and it always turns out really nice, so I'm going to try it for myself. Okay, so I'm going to put this on here, and I want to make sure that I don't have any bubbles in it. Okay, any bubbles or folds or anything like that. Okay, boom. You also, when you put the saran wrap on it, you can also get a feel and a gauge as to how thick your clay is, and this keeps it so that the clay doesn't stick to your cutters. So I'm going to start cutting some out here. And then you can always take a little needle if you want to and poke little holes using these guides. What? If that is in fact truly the case, I think that's really awesome. Very smart. Innovative. Okay. Then I'm going to do a simple circle or oval because I can't tell shapes apparently. That looks like a really nice earring. I like that. Okay, so I'm going to grab a couple more shapes just to try them out. I don't know if they're going to come out right, but you know, it's always good to try, you know. Yeah, I don't know what it is about this shape. I have not had success with that shape. So I have these square shapes. I'm going to make it into a diamond. Okay, let's see if I can get another one out of here. You sure can. Boom. All right. All right, nice little rounded bubble shapes. I kind of like that. Ooh, I'm impressed, saran wrap. Okay, I'm impressed with the plastic wrap. Okay, it's very clean. It's very clean. I think that's going to be my go-to trick. I'm always going to do that from now on. So I got these cute little nice little shapes and I'm very happy with them. So I'm carefully going to cut these up really quick. So there you have it. And then this is what the back looks like. Nothing crazy. So there you have it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop these directly onto my tile as I go. And my tile right here. Start getting these up. Of course, I have my oven preheated. It's another reason why I like the translucent clay Sculpey 3 is the fact that the directions for baking it is so much easier. Instead of it being, for Fimo, I believe it's 125 or 110 or degrees Fahrenheit for your oven, which no oven does that. Even if you put it on warm temperature on your oven is very inconsistent. So this is another reason why I like the Sculpey clay, because it's 275 degrees Fahrenheit. Like, you can't go wrong with that. Every oven does that. So I have my little toaster oven. It is preheated at 275 degrees Fahrenheit, ready to go. You can hear it clicking in the back. And here's another piece. I don't like the shape of that, so I'm just gonna press it down a little bit more. There you go. I'm loving the marbling of the foil on this. The gold foil is marbled beautifully and I love it. And I'm also, what I like to do to help myself cut down on too much sanding, because yes, you have to sand it, I am going to be pressing in some pieces that I see sticking out, because I'm going to have to sand those later. So if I just get those pieces now, then I don't have to worry about it, you know, right? Plan ahead. I messed up the shape of that a little bit because life. And I'm going to scrape up my next one. So I was feeling both of these pieces, and this piece right here is a little bit thinner than this piece. So I'm going to take a little acrylic coaster and I'm just going to press it out a little bit. You know, I'm not going too crazy. I just need it to be a little bit thinner so that they match and I don't have one thick earring and one thin earring. Okay. I'm carefully going to scrape this up. There we go. So I made it a little bit thinner, but I'm going to pinch out the side a little bit. They are not twins, but at least they are sisters, and that is all that really matters. I'm going to pop these into my oven for 15 minutes at 275 degrees Fahrenheit, and then I'm going to bake them about 15 minutes or so, and then I'm going to take them out and I'm going to start poking holes in them and show you what it would look like. This is the results that I got, but I think I'm going to cover it with resin. And I put some regular white craft paint in it, and you can see like the little pieces of it, like the really nice little marbling going on there. This is my orange slice here. I'll try to get as close as I can so you guys can see that marbling. That's coming from the paint, the white paint that I put in there. Okay, and then you have my little tiny orange slice. So, oh, and this is how this one turned out. So that's good. You know, I love the fact that it has like little cracking in it. But the marbling comes out very well. I love it. I don't want to do any sanding because I did a lot of shaping it as I went. Oh my goodness, look at this again. Look at it again. Look at that. Love the marbling, the shapes that are created with the paint, the transitions between the clay colors. I love it. And the paint, oh, I'm in love. So anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to slap some gloves on. I have my UV lamp over here, and I got my go-to UV resin that I use with 𝐷𝐸. So this is my UV resin. I have a little tool that I'm going to use to like spread it out. This is another tool that I'm going to use to spread it out. And I'm going to cover these with resin really quick. And then I'm going to pop them underneath my lamp. And then I'll show you the results of what it looks like after I do the resin. what I do notice so far doing UV resin on this shape is that it's like very hard to do because it's rounded on the edges. So when it's rounded on the edges, it just like drips down on the sides, which is okay. But just make sure you have a paper towel ready and make sure you are wearing your gloves. Alright, so here are some of the results up close. It's like when you put the resin on it, it's like they just pop even more. So I love that. I love how the teal goes with the gold. It's just perfect. I love it. I'm going to grab my drill and some tools and some 20 gauge copper wire, and I am going to start poking holes in these. Now, keep this in mind, you guys. You're not going to be poking holes into things without having something underneath it in order to poke holes in them without poking holes through your life or your bench or anything like that. Get yourself a little cardboard box, put them on top of the cardboard box and poke holes through that. Okay. Now I just need to figure out, first and foremost, you need to figure out where you're going to poke your holes, how you're going to wear these earrings. And I believe that, no, this is how I did it. These I'm just going to have as dangles. Okay. Now these little slices, I think I'm going to have them like this, with this like that. I think I'm going to poke holes in the diamond shapes at the top. I don't know where I want to go through. I'm just going to test it. I don't know. Okay. So I'm going to not get too close to the edge. You hear me? Don't get too close to the edge. I was a little too far over to the left, but that's okay. Okay, here we go. Looking beauteous. Pow, 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 pow. Okay. Alrighty. Trying to keep it as even as possible. That's what I'm doing here. So I got my two little holes, okay? Let me repeat that on this earring. Okay, a little too high. There we go. So I can set these little guys aside. We're good. We have our holes. Yeah. Keep your minds out of the gutters. Okay, so let me clean up my space real quick of all this dust and let's get started. So my triangles should be fairly easy. I have my slices that I am trying to elongate a little bit. So let me see what kind of chain I have to work with here. So this is the chain that I'm going to use. I love it because the actual links on them are large enough that you can use a regular jump ring with, but I need a big jump ring to go into the actual clay part. All right, so I'm attaching jump rings into the holes of my slices. So yeah, the orange slices are not going to work out for me to have 2 orange slices, so I'm going to set those aside. Just being honest with myself here, because you got to think about every part of the earring. Okay, so now I am going to attach, I got a jump ring attached to my chain, and so I'm going to attach that to one side. So this is what I decided. I'm just going to leave it the way it is with just one of the slices, and even that by itself is pretty awesome looking. I love it. So I'm going to do some earring wire for those earrings and these, and then I'm going to model them for you, okay? Stay tuned. Y'all, so glad I decided to do it this way. So there we go. And here are the other ones. I'm just gonna take like 2 minutes to be like really proud of myself. See, this is what happens when you take 2 seconds out of the feeling of failure and going and saying, okay, let me take this failure and see what I learned from it. What can I learn from it? What can I do differently to make it work next time? You're gonna fail. First time, I haven't heard, I mean, you can comment below if you were successful with clay your very first time. Failure is real, and I failed, yes, but I'm gonna take 2 minutes of my life and say, hey, let's try to figure out why I failed. How am I gonna learn from it? So you got to see firsthand me failing with clay and learning from my failures and creating something wonderful from learning from my failures. Yeah. So you guys, stay tuned for my next video on how to create these geodes. I'm going to do it a little bit differently than what you see here. I'm going to create a couple different types, but we're going to do this in our next video, and this is made out of clay. And as usual, you guys, thank you so much for watching. Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment. Also, make sure you follow me on my Instagram and on my TikTok. Help me out, you guys. I also wanted to take this time to thank my 2 newest members on YouTube. Barbara Paul, thank you so much, and Kara Dowell, thank you so much for joining my YouTube members. You guys are great. So they will get priority replies, they will get the loyalty badges, and they will get first dibs on suggestions of my next newest videos. And they also will get sneak peeks and be the first ones to see my newest videos that come out before everyone else. You want to see it first? Then join my YouTube members. And soon I'm going to be opening up my Patreon. Now, when it comes to the Patreon now, I have a video that is going to tell you all about members and all about my Patreon and what you expect. Now with Patreon, we talking about some merchandise. We're talking about some giveaways. I'm really excited about the Patreon. I'm kind of scared, but I'm excited and scared at the same time. It's true. It can happen. You could be excited and scared at the same time, but it will be okay. And it's going to be an awesome place to be. Did I cover everything? I think I did. So I will see you in the next video, you guys. Okay. Bye. Yes.